What is shaking, everybody? Hope everybody had a very, very Merry Christmas and is off and running in 2026. We're going to try to get you off and running with some winners in a very tricky weekend. You don't know who's playing, you don't know what the motivations are. But Dennis Ranahan from Quackside Sports, PicksFootball.com is here to help us navigate it. Although, Dennis, first off, Happy New Year, and I hope you had a great Christmas.
Happy New Year to you and your whole little staff there with Daniel and all.
No, absolutely. Well, I don't care. I mean, those guys, I'll wish them, Happy New Year. I'll get no. Now they are great. I love those guys, and I should say, heading into the new year, show sponsored by Fieldwork, the official non-alcoholic beverage or brew of the San Jose Sharks. So you can go down there. I was down there a couple of weeks ago, saw a Sharks game. Always fun seeing a Sharks game. I did not have the non-alcoholic variety of beverage. I had a fully leaded variety. I think I had a pulp when I was down there. So yeah, they got all the beers down there, and they got a new tap room across from Oracle over there. So once the weather gets good and baseball's back, we'll definitely, I'll have to get you over there. Even if you don't have a beverage, you can have a water and look at McCovey's Cove and just.
Well, I'll have a beverage.
There you go. Okay, well, we'll have a beverage. We'll go over there and enjoy. So, all right, let's get to this week because this is a tricky week. Although I did find one that I usually don't love games this week, and I'm not going to say I loved it, but I like it. And I felt like I haven't had a lot of games this year that I've really liked. And there have been a few. This one just jumped out at me. And I thought, I was looking through the lines and I was like, okay, that one's kind of interesting. That one's kind of interesting. And then the New Orleans Saints said hello. And I said, interesting. The New Orleans Saints. Been playing some pretty good football. Haven't quit. Running to the finish line. Defense has played pretty well. And their young quarterback's playing better and better each and every week. So the young quarterback obviously is going to play as well as he can, as hard as he can. The team seems to be doing the same for Kellen Moore. And traditionally they do play well in Atlanta for whatever reason. At least they used to. I'm not sure how they've done the last 3 or 4 years. So I get that. I get a team that's trying. That is still the perception of New Orleans is they're not very good. And look, they're not great, but they've won, I think, 3 or 4 in a row. They get to go against a team who just had their win of the year, right? They just beat the Rams. Just beat the Rams in a close game. Just beat the Rams in a game that held. Stafford hits that out pass or that flag route. I mean, they may kick a field goal going to overtime. When they didn't, though, and they lose the game. And that, I don't know. I don't want to say it's a Super Bowl, but that was like as big a win as you can have. So coming off that, this week, what do they have at stake? Well, if they win, the Panthers go to the playoff. Great. They don't care about that. They don't care if Panthers go to the playoffs or not. So I just thought, boy, this lines up pretty good. Getting 3.5. I got a young quarterback versus an old quarterback. A team that just came off their biggest win of the year, and a team that's really still trying, and a team in Atlanta. I'm not going to say they're going to quit, but I just think the motivation is going to be different for New Orleans and Atlanta, and that's the one. That's the one. I feel like, boy, that one. Of course, is going to lose, but that's the one that jumped out at me, Dennis. I go, for me, it's got to be New Orleans. So I took New Orleans.
It's interesting as Saints have won 4 in a row. And Paul discovered this on my staff a number of years ago when we saw teams that didn't make the playoffs, but won at least their last 3 games in a row. Mm-hmm. They always had a worse record the following season. That the fact that they weren't good enough to go to the playoffs and they won 3, 4, 5 games in a row to close out the season tells me 2 things. They're not a very good football team, or at least weren't for the whole season. And second, they're going to be overrated coming into the new year. They're going to look at those end of the season wins and think, oh, yeah, here we go. And that usually is a kiss of death for a team. So let the Saints win this one. I'm not big on this game. The Falcons are also a team that has gone through, as I said a few weeks ago, I just think Raheem Morris is the most likely candidate to lose his job because there's so much talent on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
And Bijan is maybe the best running back in football right now. I mean,
yeah, he's unbelievable.
Well, I was rooting for him. I was rooting for him. I wasn't comfortable with plus 7.5. I had plus 7.5, and I'm still thinking they wouldn't go to overtime and lose it, and then the Rams would start with the ball. Would they go for 2 points if they scored? How you and I would think.
That's how we all think. Yep. How could we lose?
How could you possibly lose this game? Because we had the Falcons out there as a real play.
Yep.
And nevertheless, so I'm not as confident in this one as you. I'm not against it anyway, and I understand your reasoning, and I think it's sound. I just think the Falcons have underachieved on the win-loss record too, so they still might have one in the tank. Although I think your thinking's better. I think if I have a lean on it, it's towards the Saints with you.
All right, let's get to the games that actually matter, that have something at stake, and we'll see if we could find some winners in those. The first one is the Panthers and the Buccaneers, and I already know what side you like on this one. And it's funny, I won't give it away. I'll let you do that. But I actually took it before you told me to take it because I was like, I like this play. I'm going to take this play. So I always like that when I take something and then you come in and say, yeah, I like this. I'm going to take it. I was like, well, perfect then. I got it, and I know I got a decent line on it. Too, but it's the Buccaneers and the Panthers. Interestingly enough, we thought this was going to be for the division. I guess it's not for the division. If Tampa wins, now you correct me if I'm wrong, but if Tampa wins and Atlanta wins, then the Panthers go. Right. So not only does Tampa have to win, they have to hope that New Orleans wins as well. And that was by virtue of Atlanta beating the Rams, which nobody really thought was going to happen.
Except you and I. Of
course. Exactly. There may have been a few others out there. But everybody just kind of thought, well, Atlanta's going to lose that game, so this will be. Well, it's not for the division. Carolina wins, they're in. Tampa wins, they need New Orleans to win as well, then they'll go. And what a free fall Tampa's had over the last half of the year. I figure it's about the same time, Dennis, I said, wow, man, Baker's really turned into an incredible quarterback. Like, he's really fun to watch. And then it's like, God, what happened? Like, I don't know. It almost makes me feel like he's injured. Like there's something there that we're not.
Is injured.
Yeah, that we're not seeing because he doesn't look like the same guy.
Injuries.
Yeah, he doesn't run. Ibuka he went into the written witness protection program. Like Ibuka was like the offensive rookie of the year. And then like halfway through the season, he was gone. That may be Teteroa McMillan now for the Panthers. But boy, I watched that Panther game last week against Seattle. And it's still like they're the weirdest team. They can beat the Rams at home and then not even look like close to a playoff team against the Niners on the road, and then throw for 54 yards against Seattle. Now, I picked those three teams because they're all in the same division, and they're all pretty equal in terms of talent and ability. But I don't get them. Like, I literally do not get Carolina. But I did take Tampa. I figured it's their last gasp, and they just got beat by them. So I'm gonna go with Tampa in this one.
Yeah, we fortunately have got Carolina, and we use this strategy on them. If they're expected to win, like they were twice against the Saints, they're not mature enough to win in that spot.
Yeah.
If they're up against it and no one gives them a chance, okay. So it started for us in the Buffalo game when everybody piled on the Panthers early in the season when they were meeting Buffalo because they had a big win the week before, and they said, oh, they've arrived. And we took Buffalo won 40-9 on the road. And I went, see, that's who this team is. If they're challenged, they got enough talent that can be, as a young team, motivated to win. But tell them they're going to win like they did 2 weeks ago. All you have to do is beat the Saints, and you're alone in first place. Boom. Down the shooter they go. And then last week against Seattle, we had Seattle in that game just because, well, this is just Seattle needs it to make sure that they stay in line to have the top draft pick with a win over, top seed in in the playoffs with a win over the Niners. And they're just the better team. It took a while for Seattle to take control. It was tied at halftime, but obviously they did and won 27-10. I always look at a 27-10 score as a dominant of all the scores. That's total control. 27-10 always looks to me like they didn't have a need to blow the opponent out, and they totally controlled the game. 20-10 is that kind of score. So now Tampa Bay, I'm saying Carolina loses to Seattle. And so I was kind of split on this game. I was thinking, this is tough. I mean, the Buccaneers have won one game since their bye. They're 1-7.
Yep.
Their only win, a 3-point win over the Arizona Cardinals. They didn't cover the spread. That was in Florida that they played that game. So they've been horrible since they, got early. They beat Seattle in Seattle early in the year. They looked good for a long time. They had the 1-point win over Houston, which was disappointing to us in week 2 because we had Houston that day, and they came back with a length of the field drive. And when Baker was healthy, boy, he was really a game changer. He made things happen. Now he's hurt, so I was kind of neutral in this game. And then it came to me as we did the machine that I don't know if you're aware of this, but on ESPN, maybe you are, Tom, but maybe your listeners might help. There's a machine on ESPN where you put in ESPN playoff machine and you can do any scenarios. It'll tell you how the standings go. Have you seen this? It's a great little tool that ESPN offers. And so you can do and I'm doing these scenarios on Sunday night and I go, wait a minute. If the Falcons win tomorrow, we're still in that mode. If the Falcons win tomorrow, that means Carolina could make the playoffs if this goes to a 3-way tie, in that division, all 3 teams being 8 and 9, then the tiebreaker goes to Carolina. Well, that's huge because now you've got a situation where if the Buccaneers have to win and get help, unbelievably great motivation.
Mm-hmm.
When those 2 things are in place, because even if you win, it might not be enough. That's a lot easier win. And now you take this Carolina team and you say, all you have to do is win. Oh, death for that young team, Carolina. I love Tampa Bay tomorrow, coming off of 1 win in 7 weeks and not a 3-point win. In fact, you probably know we alerted the clients yesterday when we saw what way this line was going to go to buy the 2.5 when it was a prevalent line. And now it is up to 3 pretty much everywhere. And so we'll lay those 2.5, 3 points and confidently take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, I like that one too. And I should make clear that I think I may have misspoke. Carolina beat Tampa 2 weeks ago, not the other way around. All right, let's get to the big one here in the Bay Area. The Seahawks and the Niners. This one, I mean, the Niners getting 2 short weeks in a row is classic. I don't know how that factors in. Yeah, I know Lou's very intrigued by this game too. She's very intrigued by her lunch coming up in about 30 minutes. That's what she's really intrigued by. But this is man, I look, I will not bet this game. I'm just because I want to see the Niners win. And doesn't mean I wouldn't bet against them if I thought it was a great money-making opportunity. I don't see an opportunity in this one. I see teams that are pretty even. Seattle's better on defense. Niners are better on offense. I mean, it's special teams. Niners probably have a better special teams. But I mean, I can't believe I'm saying maybe they're even. Maybe thinking about it now, they're probably pretty even. But at least the Niners aren't getting killed on special teams like they usually are. I don't know. How do you see this one? I don't know the Niners can play any better offensively than they did against the Bears. That was just another Niner game this year, Dennis. We were like, whew, feel kind of worn out watching it. It was like a lot of ups and downs in that game. It was great. It's just a wild game. Like the Niners literally could have easily lost the Bears game, lost the Rams game in LA, lost Arizona at home earlier in the year, lost Seattle at Seattle earlier. Like they've had so many close calls they've managed to pull out. It's been pretty amazing. And the fact they can still get the number 1 seed is one of the more amazing stories of the NFL season, I think. I don't have a feel for this one. I do not have a Trent Williams, not sure how healthy he's going to be. Although Pleasance was fantastic, not sure how healthy Kittle's going to be, although it sounds like he's in line to play. I don't know. I don't know with this one. I think it's 2 really good teams. I'm just going to sit back and watch. Although, Dennis, what I'm going to do is sit back and stay inside my little booth that I call the Warrior games from, because I actually have a Warrior game during the Niner game. I'm going to keep my headset on the whole game so I don't hear anybody say anything. And I'm going to try to come home and watch it. Chances of success, very minimal that I won't find out. But I'm going to try. I'm going to try to not find out what happens, because I want to watch the game, because it's going to be an awesome game. Do you have any lean one way or the other on this one?
I love this play.
Do you really? Golly, I can't believe I
really love this play.
Okay, I'm going to tell you, you love it, but I'm going to wish you well. No matter what side you go, I'm going to watch it. I can't do this game, but I can't wait to hear why you love this game.
First of all, Sam Darnold, right? Here he goes again. He's got a great team. They're coming in. They now have to go on the road. And if he doesn't win the last day of the season, his team goes from the 1 seed to the 5 seed. This is exactly what happened to him a season ago when he was with the Vikings and had 14 regular season wins, 14-2 going in the last week of the season, and playing Detroit. And Detroit beat him, got the 1 seed. He got the 5 seed, went off to, actually they played in Arizona, played the Rams, and got blown out there. And, by the way, as we've mentioned before, Minnesota had to let him go because he had priced himself out of the backup role model, the price-wise with his season, and they had made their commitment to their first-round draft choice. So you couldn't pay 2 quarterbacks, first choice money. So they had to let him go. So any criticism of the Vikings losing him and McCarthy still getting hurt so much, that's just unfair. They had no choice. That was a business decision.
Yep.
1 second.
Uh-oh. Sam Darnold calling on line
2. Yeah, thanks for calling. So anyway, it was a sales call. I saw the.
Of course it was.
Readout.
You have a loan, a $70,000 loan. They're circling back to try and get you to.
And they keep saying more. You now qualify for $120,000.
I know. I haven't even done anything. Interest free. Yeah, I don't think you are. It's unbelievable. Golly.
So anyway, so now we get back to this game, and so Sam Darnold, he's not going to do this 2 years in a row. He's not going to go out on the road and lose that top seed because he clearly has a better team this year. I love the Niners. They're unbelievable. But if you look at their last 2 games, Chicago was coming off that big emotional win over the Packers. They were vulnerable last Monday night. And you know how close that game was. It comes down to the last play of the game. Is it Chicago? Is it them? You win by 4. You could have lost by 3. If he completes that last pass, it was that close. And they gave up 38 points. And the week before against Phillip Rivers, their defense was very suspect in that game too. They gave up a lot of points. It was the fumble early on in that game that switched they were going back and forth on each other. It was 7-7, still early, but they fumbled the ensuing kickoff when probably the Colts would have taken their 14-7 lead, and then the 49ers would come back. So it's typical. You have a better defense against a suspect defense. Now you talk about Brock Purdy. I kind of think that 8 weeks off while he was injured may not have hurt him given where he is right now. He didn't go through 8 weeks of punishment. He was on the sidelines recovering from the turf toe, which I think should be renamed, debilitated foot, because it's a lot worse injury than just turf toe. Sounds like it's a hangnail.
It does, doesn't it?
It's you got to rename that. That's just misnamed. I vote for debilitated foot. In any case, in his situation, so now you've got the better defense. Brock Purdy's been so good, and he's been so sharp since he's come back. And And it would be easy for me to root for the 49ers. I never root against my own plays, and business is business.
Yes.
And so I won't have it. But it's a little bit like Peyton Manning's dad watching Peyton lose the Super Bowl a number of years ago. At least he lost to the New Orleans Saints. That had to be some sort of, for Mr. Manning Archie there.
Yeah.
He would have had, at least it was his old team. It wasn't like, the Patriots or the NFC team beat him. Okay, so now you take the better defense on the road, and people are betting on the Niners. And they came out with the Seattle a 1-point favorite. And this was my first indicator. They're making Seattle a favorite in San Francisco. That seemed like, whoa. And then I watched the money come in on the Niners. We'll know a lot more about real money when we canvass the casinos tonight. But right now, it's clearly about 62% wagering on the Niners side. And once again, I always believe my real numbers when I talk to the casino operators, because they're giving me what's really going on. Sometimes I don't believe what I see online.
Yeah.
But in any case, the money's on the Niners. And now the line goes up to 1.5. And now it jumped to 2.5 about an hour ago. Well, that isn't dumb money moving a line up like that. And so I bought it at 1.5, and I didn't feel inclined that I would need to tell the clients to catch it now, because I thought 2 was the ceiling and 1 was a possibility. And now it looks like, let's make sure it stays under 3. But Seattle is a play in this spot. As I say, I'll be Archie Manning if the Niners go on a win, because I love Kyle, I love John, I love what they're doing over there. I think Brock Purdy is, as Steve Young said on your show a few years ago, he said he at critical times, there's only 3 quarterbacks he's seen. He left Montana out of this for purpose, but he said there's only 3 quarterbacks he's seen where the game seems to slow down at the most important times. And the 3 he mentioned was Peyton Manning and Patrick Mahomes, and put Brock Purdy in that group. And so with that said, and Steve's recommendation on Purdy, it's pretty tough to go against him at home in this spot. But you get the better defense, and the wise guy money is all over the Seattle Seahawks. And I'll be on the wise guy side.
Yeah. Look, I don't blame you, but I'm gonna watch it, because this team has defied logic a number of times this year. Yeah, they've managed. Yeah, they've managed to just dance between raindrops so many times this year. I needed
compelling reason, Tom. I needed overwhelming, compelling reason to get on the Seahawks side.
Yeah, I know. I totally, like, I'm with you. Like, I see the reasoning and everything. I just this team's it's just a weird year for them in terms of, like, just always making the right play and getting the right. So yeah, I'm just gonna sit there and I'm gonna watch the game. I think it's going to be a lot different than the Bears game. I think it's going to be a little tighter, lower scoring. I mean, of course, it's going to be lower scoring. That was 42-38. That was ridiculous. There was like no defense played in that game. But there was, I don't know how much of I'm sure you watched it, since we both had Seattle last week against Carolina. So I'm sure you watched some of the game. I was watching it until it kind of got out of hand. But it was a close game. It was like 10-10, 13-10, something like that. And Seattle was driving, had the ball going in, and Darnold threw a terrible pick. And I was like, ooh, because he still worries me a little bit about some of the picks that he can throw in big pressure situations. And I think until, he has a clean game where it's a big game. Anyway, we'll see. All right, the other one I kind of like, I don't love it, just because how do you love either of these two teams between Baltimore and Pittsburgh? Like, how do you look at these teams and go, I love that game? I don't think I've loved the game either one of them have played this year. I mean, I've taken them, but I don't think I've loved it. Are you struggling to get up? Good Lord. I know it's not even 2 yet. She's like, hey, come on, you got a half an hour. Here's what I will say, though. I mean, the Steelers, like, I look at the Steelers and go, okay. And I'm not sure what's TJ Watt's status in this game. Do we know? Are we playing? Okay, good. Okay. But DK Metcalf out because he was I mean, they thought they get rid of like their problem wide receiver in Pickens, and they go, "Hey, let's go get DK Metcalf. Let's see how that works out for us." Oh, brother! So they're missing him, missing their monster of a tight end, but here's where I come down on this one. Baltimore goes into Green Bay and wins without Lamar Jackson. Why? Because they didn't have Lamar Jackson, because they had Tyrone Huntley, and they just said, you know what? We got to buckle it up. The defense has to buckle it up. Running game, you better get it going. Derrick Henry, all you can eat buffet today. Here you go. We're riding this thing until the wheels come off. And like everyone was like locked in, ready to go. This week they get Lamar Jackson back, which I think is actually a bad thing for them, because Lamar Jackson has not been Lamar Jackson this year. And I think with Lamar Jackson, they think they can do more things, because they've always been able to do more things with Lamar Jackson. They just can't do those things this year for whatever reason. And I think the team kind of think, oh, Lamar Jackson's back. Oh, he'll take care of some of this stuff that Huntley can't take care of. Yeah, but he hasn't. And I don't think he will in this one. And I get 3.5 points at home with Pittsburgh in this one. I would have been more inclined to lay points if Huntley were playing, just because of that. Geez, we better be laser focused on every little detail if we're going to win this game, rather than the fact we got Lamar Jackson, he'll save us. The cape hasn't been put on in quite some time. I don't think the cape's getting put on Sunday night. I do not love the Steelers. This is more of a bet against the Ravens, but it all works out the same in the end. I'm probably going to be on the Steelers plus 3.5. How do you see it?
Well, I was interested in your choice on this, because you've done so well on the Steelers and their underdog roles and things like that for years. And I know last year I took the Ravens over the Steelers as a 1-point favorite, I think it was. And their kicker, who is now no longer in the league, but was the greatest kicker ever, missed 2 or 3 field goals, and they lost 18-16. The Steelers won 18-16. I lost with the Ravens. And I remember saying then, doggone it, why against the Steelers as a home underdog was I there? I just thought that, Baltimore was too good for them. And the truth of the matter was they probably were, but they didn't win as a favorite in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Then later in the season, when they got both in the regular season and the playoffs, I took Baltimore 2 more times, and they won both those. Now we get this situation, and it's a Pittsburgh at home overmatched. I'm not going to bet against that. I'm not going to bet against that. I'm not going to bet against it's clearly motivationally the Steelers side. Now, without Metcalf and with Rodgers, what he is, and Baltimore, who they are. Yeah, I don't want to bet on the Steelers here, because it could just be that the big guy decides to run the ball. And I'm talking about the running back, not the quarterback. That Derrick Henry just lights it up for 180 yards, 200 yards. I don't like the Steelers team. I think their record is better than their talent.
Yeah.
And so I'm not on this game. It's the Sunday night game. And I know a year ago we made a top pick on that Sunday night game, taking Detroit over Minnesota. This isn't a play for us. And unless something really weird happens in the next 48 hours, it won't be a play for us on Sunday either. It just, for me, it's like motivation and talent are on opposite sides, and I'm not sure what's going to rule the night.
Got it. Have any interest in Philadelphia and and the Commanders, which a line that, like, the look ahead line, I think it was like 13.5. It opened at 7.5. It is now down to 3.5 or 4, because Philadelphia is going to rest guys. We don't know how they're going to play. Just to let you know, I actually would like the Commanders to win this game, just because I have Philadelphia season win total under.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the Cowboys because I got them over.
Yeah, all I needed was Buffalo to win last week. I mean, how Josh Allen missed Shakir in the corner of the end zone.
Over 11.5. I needed Buffalo too.
I was like, God, that Josh Allen makes that throw like 97 times out of 100, and he rushed it for no apparent reason. But anyway, that's gone. That's neither here nor there. So I was happy to see the line went from like 7.5 to 4.5, or 4, and then 3.5. I was like, okay, maybe they got a chance. Is this one? There's not enough information in this one for you to like? Because I thought about Washington, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, this is the throwaway game for me in the situation where Philadelphia could win it if they needed to, and know that Washington doesn't want to go out, with a thud after being in the playoffs last year and having a bad season. And I listened this week to the radio interview that they did with Dan Quinn, and he said, this is a big game for us. We want to show that we're, and I believe that. I believe he's holding this as a big game for his team. And Philadelphia obviously is not. And when I saw that spread drop from 7 to 4, I went, whoops, Philadelphia just announced that nobody's starting, that's what happened. So you don't want to bet on Philadelphia on the road thinking, well, they'll win anyway because they're Philadelphia. And I'm not sure that they can't coast their way to a 17-10 win. So yeah, it's not a play for us. But if I needed that ticket out of Bakersfield, I would put it on the Commanders in this spot.
If you needed the ticket out of Bakersfield, we'll put. All right. So conventional wisdom is that the Rams, now laying 7.5 against Arizona at home, will come out and want to really atone for their misstep in Atlanta. And just by atone, I mean just play better, just play cleaner football. I know McVay wasn't happy with it. I do know this about McVay. When there's nothing on the line, McVay doesn't play anybody. McVay doesn't play anybody during the preseason. Like nobody ever. Like I don't think Stafford takes a snap in the preseason. So I would just tell people, be careful. Just because it sounds like McVay wants to play these guys and wants to play, look, it's a one-off game. And McVay's smart enough to realize that. Like, it's just not. Look, you're killing me right now. Good Lord. I have to open the door and let her out. Just like really just it's not even time yet. So I thought when it got to 7.5, Dennis, I thought, God, do I roll the dice here and take Arizona? Arizona's putrid. I mean, Arizona's terrible. It's hard to actually lay like real money on the Arizona Cardinals, but I'm just not so sure that like McVay may treat this as a kind of half preseason game. Like, okay, let's get our rhythm back in the first quarter or something, and then just pull guys and make sure they're healthy. And then all of a sudden, a 10-point lead goes to a 3-point lead, and then he doesn't even care. I don't know that's going to be the case for sure, so I don't know how I feel about it, but I certainly wouldn't lay it with the Rams here. How do you see it?
Yeah, and you can get 8 now. It's up to 8.
Oh, okay.
A lot of spots. Once again, it's one of those games that the Rams are good enough to win it. They did 47-13 or something a few weeks ago against this team when it mattered. Are they going to blow them away? No, the Rams don't want to do that. McVay's smart enough to know that winning a game you don't need by a big score going into playoffs is a really bad thing to do. You do not want to give your team a bunch of confidence that, for nothing, for no reason. So now, I would feel horrible sitting there rooting for the Rams to cover a spread more than McVay wants to cover that spread.
Exactly.
That's the danger. It's like you get caught in a preseason game and you suddenly realize, I want to win this game more than the team. And that's a horrible feeling to be in. And I think that's the kind of feeling you'd have here. And I don't want the Cardinals either. They would have bounced up last week. They were in a pretty good spot to bounce up last week, and they got crushed. So I didn't have them, fortunately. But the Cardinals, big problems.
All right, and the Rams actually up to 9 in a lot of places. So, all right, give me one you're keeping your eye on heading into.
There's a couple
heading into Saturday night. Yeah, go ahead.
We haven't mentioned one is a play for us. Will be a play. You mentioned earlier in the show that Atlanta was coming off their big win by beating the Rams. Think of someone else coming off a big win. The Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
The Cleveland Browns coming off their win against, that's it. That's their season. They won. They beat Pittsburgh. They kept them out of the playoff in the home field. Now they go to Cincinnati, and Cincinnati is sitting there saying we should have been a playoff team. They're 5-2, I believe, with
Burrow
at quarterback. They won their first two, and they've won 3 out of 4, I guess, since he's come back. They lost to the Ravens there by 24-0 score. So I really think that the Bengals fall into that category of we don't want to end this season on a thud. We want to end this season, showing that we were really a playoff team that just didn't have our quarterback this year. And I don't know why, but the defense sure does play better when Burrow's in the lineup. That defense was just a swinging gate when, because it wasn't the offensive fault that they lost 8 out of 9 games while Burrow was out. It was the defensive fault because they got Flacco, and Flacco beat Pittsburgh in that late October game, and he played well enough to win some more games, but he couldn't outscore his defense giving it up. And so, but with Burrow in there, this is a statement game for Cincinnati, and Cleveland got their statement last week. So I just see, as I mentioned earlier, this is 27-10, looking for a place to happen.
Got it. All right, one last one, then we'll let you
I'll give you one last one, and I'm not sure this is a play. I really want to see what happens here, but this is a really good spot for the Houston Texans because the Houston Texans are playing with a win. They could be a 3 or a 5, I believe, in the seeding. They could move all the way up to 3. They could win the division over Jacksonville. With a loss, they could drop to 7 and no better than 5. So that's a big spread in the seeding. So Houston needs to win this game. They've won 8 games in a row, and now they're playing. Why do I draw a blank on who they're playing here for a second?
The Colts.
Yeah, they're playing the Colts. And the Colts are in a situation where they're going to start Riley Leonard. So you're going to put a rookie quarterback on the road against the best defense in football. Yeah, that's not a formula to succeed. Now, 10.5 points, it's a big number to cover. That's a big number to cover. It'll be 10.5 or 11 on Sunday. But if the numbers come right to us, 70% or more betting on the Texans would take me off it. Anything less than that, any kind of competitive number on where the money is, I'll be on the Texans in this spot and expect a blowout.
Dennis, as always, we appreciate the time, and we'll do it throughout the course of the playoffs. Hopefully some people took you up on your offer to join you for $100.
I got 6 books left. So if they still want to, so I left your little logo up there. If
there you go.
Want to get the rest of the playoffs, the last week in the playoffs, they can do it. I got 6 books left.
Dang, should have jumped on last week. Last week was a fun week.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago was horrible. The first week out, after we give that away, we get crushed from all sides. Then last week was much better, and would have been perfect if we had not had that situation with the Colts not covering at the end. That was difficult that we had the Colts over the Jaguars, and they hit that last field because they didn't get the first down. And anyway, here nor there. But,
all right, well, there you go.
October thing, for $100 you can get the rest of the season. I'll send you one of the last 6 books.
There you go. You get go to picksfootball.com. You see the logo, the show logo on there. And again, there's articles on there. There's headline plays, and then the premium stuff as well that you pay for. But even if you don't want to, you can go and read the articles. They're a lot of fun to read and learn a little something about football. So have a great weekend. Let's see if we can end it right and on into the playoffs. We'll talk to you next week, Dennis.
It's always a pleasure, Mr. Tolbert. Always a pleasure. Glad you're feeling better, my friend. Glad you're feeling better.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And there you go. There's Dennis Ranahan at Quackside Sports, picksfootball.com. No. Did you miss a Lou sighting? Would you just show up? She's mauling me over here. She's like laying down right next to me. So we're going to do the next part of the show. We're going to do it quietly. Oh man, a couple things I got to get to before we get out of here. One, go over some of the college football games. We'll start off with the first one, Miami and Ohio State. Fun game. That was like an old school game, like old school football, kind of smash mouth. Didn't open it up. Offenses were not as prevalent as the defenses, and Miami was more physical. Miami was more physical along the trenches, both offensively and defensively. Miami got to saying multiple times, got to saying, put pressure on saying. They really didn't run the ball except for a little window there in the third quarter where they cut it to 17-14. It was 17 nothing. And I want to remember the guy's name. I mean, one of the biggest plays of the game. And it's funny because I always like to go over like what are the biggest plays of the game and like turning point. And obviously the pick six. The pick six was, I always wonder why we don't see more of those. Like why we don't see more guys jumping the route where the guy just takes a step back beyond the line of scrimmage, a receiver, you got three guys out there, two guys block ahead, and you can block if you throw it behind the line of scrimmage. They just throw it to the guy, two guys are blocking, and off we go. Except for this time, it didn't quite work out that way. This time they threw it. The Miami defensive back anticipated it. Now I just want to make sure I get his name right here. It was, that's right, Scott. And let me get his first name so I can give him due credit on the pick. Keontae Scott, that's right. And that was 14-0. Then it was 17-0. And then Ohio State started coming back in the second half, cut it to 17-14. Yeah, Sayin didn't look as good in the first half. Second half, he got it going, though. Second half, he got it going. Had a big 3rd and 15 to Smith. They didn't get Tate involved in the game as much as I'm sure they would have liked to. Again, they didn't run the ball except for a couple drives early in the third quarter, but that's really all they needed because they cut it to 17-14, and they had the ball 17-14. Had it 17-14 driving, and then they get sacked because that's really the story of the game. Miami's physicality, Miami's defensive line against Ohio State's offensive line. But they picked it up. Jeremiah Smith, 15 yards, like a 16-yard reception on 3rd and 15. But then they get a holding penalty, get pushed back, and have to punt it. And this was one of the biggest plays of the game. It sounds dumb to say one of the biggest plays of the game was a punt, and it wasn't even a punt. It was an illegal formation on a punt. I mean, come on. How often do you do this? How often do you line up to punt the ball? How do you get an illegal formation on a punt that you're clearly, it's not going to be a fake? So they screw it up. And the reason this is important is they actually had Miami pinned at the 11. Illegal formation, 5 yards. 5 yards turned into 20 yards. They got the ball at the 30-yard line. Then proceeded to run 8 out of the next 10 plays. They picked up a 3rd and 3 and a 3rd and 4 through the air. Other than that, it was all runs all the way down the field. 8 up the last, I think there was like 5:50 left when they got the ball. There was about 30 seconds left when Ohio State got the ball, all the way down the field, touchdown. And that was the game. And people don't do that to Ohio State. They just don't. You don't run it when you need to run it against Ohio State. You're going to have to throw it more than that. They had to throw it twice. They didn't even have to, but they did. It was 3rd and 4 and 3rd and 3. Miami out physical to Ohio State. They won the battle of the trenches. So the U over the, whatever. It's kind of fun to see Miami back, though. That was back when I was growing up watching college football. Back in my teenage, early 20s years, where the I know Johnson, yep, Irvin, Ray, all those guys were there. That was back like Florida State, Miami was the game. Forget Bama, Georgia, forget Ohio State, Michigan, which has always been a big game. But boy, you want to see a game with NFL talent on both sides all over the place? Florida State, Miami was it back in like the late 80s, early 90s. That game was incredible. Incredible games. Jimmy Johnson versus Bowden versus Erickson. I mean, it was just, that was the game you look forward to watching. So Florida State not back. They were for like just a minute. And their quarterback got hurt and they weren't back, and they haven't been back since. Miami might be back. Miami might be back. We will see. Keep asking this question about Texas. Is Texas back? Not yet. Not quite yet. But Miami appears to be back. Physical, got the swagger. Yeah, so that was a fun game. Fun game to watch. And so easy. Niners don't win games by 24 points, okay? Go back and look at the Niners. We get look, save up all these. I gotta get to these, I gotta get to the game recaps. I'm gonna get to all your comments. But easy 24. The easy on the sauce, okay? Lay off the sauce until Sunday. Then early in the morning, you had the Orange Bowl, Oregon and Texas Tech, and I don't know what to make of that game. Texas Tech did nothing offensively, zero. Had one big run, and that was about it. I told you they're a different Texas Tech team. They're not an offensive team. They're a physical defensive team, and I thought they were really good defensively. I mean, really, it was like 16-0. Held them to field goals. I thought did a really good job defensively against Oregon's run game. Oregon didn't do much running the ball. Moore wasn't great from the pocket. They had miscues, snaps that were rolling on the ground, snaps that were going over his head, fumble exchanges. They just kept shooting themselves in the foot. And then Dan Lanning just decided, hey, let's just go for every fourth down, see what happens. Let's just roll the dice every time. I think he went for 7 fourth downs. I think he went for 7. If I'm not mistaken, 4 for 7 on fourth down. But it didn't matter. Their defense just inhaled Texas Tech. Texas Tech had no chance in that game. Dan Lanning could have gone for it every fourth down, and it still wouldn't have mattered. I'm looking. Lay back down. I'm looking right now, yards. Not like Oregon lit it up. 309 yards. That's it. Texas Tech 215. The one thing I do know is that offenses, it seems, have a tendency to go into a little bit of the deep freeze when they get time off. Defense gets rejuvenated. Offense needs a little bit of time to thaw out. In a couple games, it didn't thaw out. So Oregon moves on. Again, it's just a dominant defensive performance. Nothing special about the offense. They're going to have to be better against Indiana, who just dismantled Bama. I know. If you want me to wake you up and I can come over and slap you and go, you're not dreaming. The Hoosiers beat Bama. That is a good football team. That is a physical football team. That's why I said last week, at least I think I said this. I'm not sure I said this, but it was my favorite play of the Bowls was Indiana. I just thought they were way better, way more physical, and they still get dinged a point or two because they're Indiana, seemingly. I thought that should have been closer to 10, but again, I could have lost. They just wore them down. Ty Simpson goes out, but I don't think it mattered. They couldn't run the ball. It couldn't do anything. What'd Bama have? Bama even have 200 yards of offense in that game? If they did, it was close. Let's see, 193 yards of offense, 407 to 193. I will direct you to a quote that I took Oregon against Indiana earlier this year in Eugene. And I knew I'd lost that bet halfway through the first quarter. And I remember Dr. Bob, and maybe we'll get on next week or at some point. I remember Dr. Bob telling me, you don't bet against Curt Cignetti unless you have a good reason to bet against Curt Cignetti. Alabama gave me no good reason. Oregon didn't even really give me a good reason early in the season. I decided I'm going to bet because I wanted to bet Oregon, and they got beat. But I love Cignetti. Here's Cignetti. Hands on the hip. Let's see if I can get it like this. And then he does this too. He doesn't even move his head. He just moves his eyes. He's like, Dude is wild. Dude is wild. And I'm going to say something that may be hyperbolic, maybe not hyperbolic. I'm not sure. But Kurt Signetti has authored the greatest coaching job in the history of college football. In the history of college football. I'm going to take that back just a beat if they win the national championship. If they don't win the national championship, he's authored one of the greatest jobs, one of the greatest coaching jobs in college football history. It's coincided with the portal. No doubt that helps. Absolutely. I don't think you can get this done without the portal. Now, Clark Lee has done something similar, but not quite as good as Signetti down in Vanderbilt. I don't think it's a coincidence that Vandy and Indy are in places they're not used to being. Now, Vandy made it a little bit different because they got Pavia, and Pavia is, I think, offensive coordinator or head coach to be the offensive coordinator for New Mexico State. But I mean, Vandy is good, but not as good as Indiana. It still doesn't seem right to say. But think about that. The greatest college football coach in the history of the sport is Saban. I mean, just by wins, record, the fact that he won national championships at multiple schools. I don't know how many he won at Bama. Off the top of my head, was it 5? Maybe 6. He won one at LSU, successful at Michigan State. But he, you start thinking of the greatest college football coaches of all time. Saban is one of them. Jimmy Johnson, McKay, Osborne, Ara Parsegan at Notre Dame, Barry Switzer at Oklahoma. I wouldn't put Dabo in there quite yet. Probably Urban Meyer. I think you put Urban Meyer in there. It's funny because Urban Meyer and Saban both flamed out in the NFL in the same state. Although Saban wasn't terrible. Urban Meyer was terrible. Saban wasn't terrible. He just wasn't what he was in college. So, and I think he still could have succeeded. But again, I think it's hard for guys who control their own, like, you can control your college program any way you want to control your college program. These guys are men. It just isn't, it doesn't work that way. Anyway, those are some of the greatest college football coaches of all time. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anybody, like somebody in the Bear Bryant. I can't believe I forgot him. I had him in my head and I forgot about him. Yeah. Bear Bryant with the houndstooth hat. Absolutely. He's right up there at the top of the heap, no doubt about it. And there's others. Like, I know I'm missing some older ones. I feel like I'm missing somebody like recently. Like, who was there before? Like, was there a dominant coach before Saban took over in the 2010-ish era where he was like, oh, Paterno, thank you. Yeah, Paterno, no doubt. No doubt. Bo Schembechler, Woody Hayes, boom, there you go. And get all the Big Ten guys out of the way. Yeah, I'm going to sleep on Kiffin if that's okay. I'm going to even sleep on Carroll. Carroll, great coach, but I don't know if I'd consider him one of the greatest college football coaches of all time. If you wanted to throw him in the group, he wasn't there long enough. He was dominant while he was there, but I don't know. I mean, when I'm talking about like Saban and Bryant and Paterno and Hayes and McKay, and I mean, these guys were there a while. I think McKay was there a while. I'd have to go back and look because he coached at Tampa as well, but he had a dominant team. I know Osborne was at Nebraska a long time. Switzer was at Oklahoma a long time. Lou Holtz, interesting one. Interesting. I don't know that I'd put him with that group. Maybe group below, but I mean, most of the guys I mentioned were like multiple national championship guys. Maybe not all of them, but Bear had a ton of them. So did Saban and Paterno and Hayes and Schembechler and Parsegan had a few of them. I know Switzer had a few of them. Osborne had a few of them. So I don't know that I'd put Holtz in that group. Really good coach, no doubt about it. I'd have to go back and look to see who some of those guys are. Anyway, those guys that I'm talking about, it was about sustained success, right? The guys that won over the years, the teams were great over the years. Signetti is not that, and I don't know that Signetti will be that. He's in his 60s. I don't know if he's going to be around 15 years. I don't know if he's going to be around 5. I don't know how long Signetti is going to be around. But in terms of turning a program around short term, this may be the greatest coaching job in the history of college football if they go on to win a national championship. And again, even if they don't, it's one of the greatest in the history of the sport. Think about the team he took over. Indiana, IU, Hoosiers. This team is second all time in losing percentage, meaning second, they have the second worst win percentage in the history of college football. And again, I think it was the worst. I think they passed up Wake Forest not that long ago. Think about that. Think how bad you are for how many years you have to be that bad. And then you come in here and you work your magic, transfer portal again. It gives you an opportunity, but still, the transfer portal. You think guys going to the transfer portal thinking, "Oh my God, I can't." What in Bama, Indiana, Notre Dame, Indiana, like Indiana, maybe I'll go to Indiana. No, I mean it's not like Indiana's a destination spot. Speaking of Bakersfield, I mean, they're like Bakersfield. Like, yeah, I guess I'll go. Is there any other spots open? Any other schools that are open? No? Okay, I'll go to Indiana. So he gets these older guys that maybe were rejected by some of the big schools, maybe went to Division II and were good players that he spotted. He has must have an eye for talent and just knows how guys fit into his system and knows the type of players he wants. It reminds me a little bit of the movie Miracle, where Herb Brooks said, I don't want the most talented team. I want guys that can play as a team. And that's what he has. And well, you're gonna have to get over Mendoza. Mendoza is, somebody said that Mendoza is like a chat GPT too. When they ask him, like it's you ask him a question, it's like, bro, slow down. What are you spitting out? Like, he's pretty impressive, but at some point you just want to go, you real? Okay. So making sure you're real. So you're talking about one of the worst college football programs of all time for an extended, like really extended period of time. And here he is, one of the Final Four teams, favored to win the national championship, demolished one of the bluest of blue bloods. I mean, just demolished Bama. You would not have been shocked whatsoever if Bama had done that to Indiana at some point. Not this year, but at some point. You'd expect Bama to do that to Indiana. Indiana is now doing that to Bama. And it's not a fluke at all. When this guy said, Google me, he wasn't laughing, he wasn't smiling, and it's pretty obvious why. Google him. The man wins. He knows how to win. He knows how to get guys to do what he needs them to do, and he has a vision for a team and sees the pieces all fitting together. Not about talent, clearly. I don't know how many 4 or 5 stars, if they even have any 4 or 5 stars on this team. I don't know. All I know is it fits together as a team and it plays like a team. So it's going to be a hell of a game between them and the Ducks. So they're a fun story. But I defy anybody to find a better coaching job in the history of college football. Last night's game was wild, especially the ending. Like, what are we doing here? We got safety. We got recover fumble. We done with the. We done anyway. I was pumped. I actually had Georgia, but I was rooting for Mississippi the last half of the game. And I was like, how can you not root for Mississippi? How can you not root for Trinidad Chambliss and that whole crew and Pete Golding and just they're a fun story. It's a fun story. Chambliss was on fire last night. I thought they were actually, for the better part of the game, the more physical team, except for, again, a little period of time in the first half where Frazier is able to get loose, able to run the ball. Stockton's just okay. I thought if you put Chambliss on Georgia and Stockton on Mississippi, Georgia wins. I thought it was one of those games where they're pretty even squads. The quarterback, Chambliss, is better than Stockton. And it's funny, too, because they kept telling how tough Gunnar Stockton is. Oh, he's tough. He's tough. You know who that reminded me of? C.J. Beathard. You remember that's the first thing out of anybody's mouth when they talked about C.J. Beathard. He's tough. And C.J. Beathard was tough. That's not what you want to hear, like the first thing out of someone's mouth regarding your quarterback. Would you like him to be tough? Yeah. I don't need that to be the first thing, because if they say he's tough, that means he can't throw very well. He's not a great thrower of the football. And Gunnar Stockton isn't a great thrower of the football. Made a few throws last night, but Chambliss was just much, much better. I thought they're the more physical team. They deserve to win. And I agree with you, Joe Boo. I keep thinking of Major League. I say, F you, Joe Boo. I do it myself. Yeah, the face mask. I was like, how do you miss a face mask out in open space? How is that even possible? I think it was Lacey. He was running right, and he's running this way, and his head is just yanked back this way. And no flag. None. Kirby, I thought Kirby lost his mind on the 4th down call when they were down 3, and it was 4th and 2 deep inside their own end. And I was like, what is going on here? First, we get let's punt it. Then we're going to fake, and we're going to try to draw you off sides. Then we're going to have the punt team on. Then we're going to run our offense on. I was like, just punt the damn ball. And then they hike it. And Stockton just got enveloped by the defensive end. Like, I was like, oh, that was a horrible play. Well, come to find out, it shouldn't have been hiked. Kirby Smart said, based on the look, that ball should not have been hiked. That's on us as coaches. And I've heard enough coaches say this to let you know with complete confidence that what the coach wants to say is, God, we told that fucking guy not to hike it, and he fucking, what do you want us to do? I mean, we're not the Harvard of the South. I mean, we fucking, fuck. I told him. Don't fucking hike it, and he hiked it. I can't go out there and not hike it for him. That was a coach jumping on a grenade for a player. That's what good coaches do. Again, I've seen a lot of coaches do it. You recognize it immediately. Like, if you wanted to, you could say, boy, they completely screwed that. But you just don't do that. That's part of being a coach, wearing that kind of stuff. Although I could say, why even put him in a position to even line up? Just punt the ball. Now, didn't even come back to bite him as much because they went and tied the game up. I thought the biggest play in the game of the game was at the end. It was around the 25-yard line. Mississippi had the ball at their own 25-yard line, and it was 3rd and 7. And Chambliss drops back to pass and rolls right. If you guys remember the play, there were 3 guys that were on his tail. There was a linebacker in the middle, defensive lineman on the left, and then the defensive back Everett on the right side. And Everett took a horrendous angle to get to Chambliss. It was way too flat. He tried to cut him off when he didn't need to. He had 2 other teammates that were there. Chambliss was going nowhere. So what Chambliss do? He spins back out. So he's running this way, spins back out over his right shoulder. And because Everett took such a terrible angle, he slipped. He's trying to get back into the play. Everett rolls out. I think he threw it to Lacey is what it was. May not have been Lacey, but I think it was. And who got stuffed 1 yard before the first down and then fell forward. Got the first down. A couple minutes later, touchdown. They end up taking the lead. So that was a huge play because that could have been a 20-yard loss. Chambliss had nowhere to go. Remember this, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about angles. It's all about angles and ball bearings. but mostly angles. And when you take a bad angle, a lot of times you may pay the price. And that time they did pay the price. So fun games overall. I don't know about you guys. I'm so happy, and somebody just mentioned it. No Bama. No Ohio State. No Georgia. No Clemson. That's what this was for about 5, 6, 7, 8 years, right? We had the occasional, Auburn and Oregon, and then you had Florida State. I think it was Florida State, Oregon, back with Jameis. But those three schools right there, plus Clemson, like every single year, it seemed like it was one of them. And it got so boring. So while the NIL and the transfer portal has a lot of work to do, more so the transfer portal, in my opinion, than NIL. Yeah, no Bama's like having no Chiefs, and you're going to get no this year, which is kind of fun. We don't need the Chiefs. We don't need Bama. NIL seems fine. Transfer portal, they got to fix. I mean, you can't just have dudes jumping into the portal every single year. 4 years, 4 different schools. That's just absurd. You can't have that. In my opinion, there's got to be contractual obligations. I think 2-year minimum for the first 2 years. If you want to transfer after your senior year, you're good to go. You want to transfer if your coach leaves, that's fine. But not just let me throw myself into the portal and see what happens. To me, I'm not a fan. Not a fan at all. And so, look at her over there. Hold on, I'm on a roll, but I'm going to let her out. Come on, Luke. Go on. Oh, that was dirty. I just shut the door. She's like, "Whoa, what?" She's like, "What? It's eating time. You're killing me here. You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me." So if they can get the transfer portal worked out somehow, some way. I'm not saying you have to stay. You have to sit out a year like you used to. You have to sit out 2 years like you're in comp, but they need to fix that. But anybody that likes college football, you should like this Final Four. You should like Oregon. And Oregon was kind of, I don't want to say a mainstay, but they're not a surprise. But it's been a long time since Miami's been there. And then Mississippi, surprise. Indiana, like, holy shit, surprise. Like, what? Indiana. Yes, the Hoosiers. So I do. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of it. And so last thing I wanted to get to, New Year's Eve, Minnesota Timberwolves going down to Georgia looking for a soul to steal. They're actually just looking for a game to win against the Hawks. And that didn't happen either. They got down big relatively early, down 29 points early in the fourth quarter, about 8 minutes left to go. Chris Finch calls a timeout, takes out all the starters. Okay, everyone's going to rest. Let's get ready for next game. Get you guys started on your champagne and caviar dreams. Like, you just go have I don't even know what that meant. Have a nice New Year's Eve. maybe you get, I don't know what, you just stay over here and just, we're getting our ass kicked. We're going to take you out. I'm not going to keep running into the ground. So he takes everybody out. I don't know if Anthony Edwards felt like, well, then hell, excuse me, I'm just going to leave the bench. So with 8 minutes left to go in the game, Anthony Edwards just left the bench. Just took off. Apparently he was upset. At least that's what the story reported. He was upset that he was taken out. What do you mean you're upset? You're getting your ass kicked. And your coach is trying to save your legs a little bit. There's like no reason for you to be in that game. So he leaves. Chris Finch not having it. Chris Finch was not a fan of that. Saying, look, I get it. He's frustrated. But you got to stay out there and root on your teammates. You don't got to root them on, but you should. And you most definitely should be there. You are getting paid. You're getting paid a lot of money to be there. Like, I hate to say it, but you didn't earn it that night on the court. That's fine, whatever. And not you personally, the team. It happens. It's sports. But you got to stick around. You can't just take off. Well, he did. And the worst part about it was they didn't even speak to the media afterwards. Not that I would expect him to. If you're going to leave the bench, you're probably going to leave early. You're already showered, you're dressed, you're ready to go, got your perfume on. Maybe you got the nightclub. Like you're cool. Like, hey, we're out. You can't skip. Like, I hate guys that skip media. I do. If you are going to be one of the players that in good times, when you are winning and you're playing well and you're looking for a microphone, I'm not saying you have to look for a microphone. I'm not saying you have to look for a microphone. You can't hide from microphones. Okay? If you don't want to talk to anybody when you're winning and you're playing well, then that's fine. Maybe you're just shy. Maybe you're Kaja Gugu. And you don't want a microphone in your face. So you just take, like, I don't like this. But yeah, exactly. And just points that out too. His family and friends were there too. Apparently grandpa was there too. So he just took like, hey, look at me. Where's Aunt? I don't know. I don't see him. Where'd he go? Did he go to the bathroom? No, he didn't come back. So look, as a team leader, you have to be better than that. You have to be, but that can't be you. It can't be you. You're the guy that sets the example. You're not the guy that leaves the bench with 8 minutes to go because you're upset. Like, I get it. It's just a one-off and it's immature, but it can't be you, period. Like, when I think of the T-Wolves and I think of the T-Wolves competing for a championship, do I think they have a chance? Outside, I would say. I still think, OKC is now, I got to include the Spurs in there. The Spurs, if healthy, they're right there. I still think Denver is there if they can get anybody healthy. I think their whole starting five might be out now. This is unbelievable. Like, if they just keep it together a little bit and wait for Jokic to get back, but they're missing. They get Gordon's out, Brown's out, Johnson's out. I think Murray might not even play. It's just like, good Lord. That's far beyond a skeleton crew. Houston certainly might be that team, depending, and they might even, who knows if they go out and get a point guard come trade deadline time. Like, I think those are your teams right there. But you're on the outside looking in right now. You're not one of those teams, but you have a chance. Like, you have a chance. But Minnesota's one of those teams right now I look at and go, nah, I can't trust Edwards. He's a great player. Great may be strong. How about really, really, really good? Like, he's one of the top players in the game. I see too many times him getting upset, him yelling at teammates, him like just doing something that I look and go, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? And then when you leave the bench and don't talk to the media, I know it's a one-off, but I don't know. No. Like, it's just horse shit is what it is. If I'm on his team, I'm like, really? Because now we got to answer questions about you not being there. We got to answer questions about you leaving the bench. Like, instead of you being here to answer your own questions about why you left, we got to answer those stupid questions now. So thanks. Thanks for the paper bag with a shit sandwich in it. Appreciate it. It's why I always say I hated stars that showed up for practice late consistently. Is it a big deal in the grand scheme? Probably not. Start practice at 11:05, 11:08 instead of 11 o'clock. We're not doing anything anyway. It's not a huge deal. It's 8 minutes. But what you are saying is your time's more important than my time. Because if I showed up at 11:08, it's going to be a lot different than when you show up at 11:08. And if stars take advantage of that and do stuff that the role players can't do, it creates a divide in a team. And the star players, we know what they're there to do. They're there to score, rebound, assist. They're there to carry the load, but they're also there to unite. You have to be able to unite everybody to have a winning franchise. One of the great things Steph has done, he unites along with all the other stuff. And they have great talent too. That helps a lot. But Anthony Edwards doesn't seem like a uniter to me. I don't know. Could be wrong. But again, you can't do that. You can't do that. Period. Warriors tonight against OKC. Looks like Draymond's out. I haven't heard Steph. Steph was questionable. Although Haley sent me a text message. So let's see what Haley has in the store for me. What? So this is from Haley. This is my source. No Jimmy, no Steph, no Draymond, no Melton. You want me to read you the whole text? No Jimmy, no Steph, no Draymond, no Melton, no reason to watch. Smiley face emoji. Pat Spencer 50-point game ? With a picture of Pat. Good Lord. I mean, I'm glad I'm going. Jeez. What the hell happened? They just like pull the plug on like everything? What happened to Jimmy? They just saying, hey, let's just take a day off. Like I knew Curry Steph tweaked his ankle a little bit. And I saw that was going to be a Draymond rest day. But should you take the Thunder at -8? That's what it is? Are you kidding? Hold on. That cannot be. I'm going to get you an updated line here. Now, I don't bet NBA. But let's see what the line is here. Yeah. If it's -8.5, you should definitely take it. Definitely take it if it's -8.5, because it's not -8.5. It's -13.5. So there you go. Yeah. -8.5. You're getting good value there with the old Thunder. But good luck finding that. So I was going to say 8.5 seems pretty light for the Warriors missing, I don't know, their whole starting lineup basically. And so, no, Steve ain't playing me tonight because Steve likes me and Steve doesn't want to see me die. If I went out on the court right now, ooh, man, I don't know. That wouldn't be pretty. Yeah. So I think Steve likes me living. And because Steve likes me living, Steve wouldn't put me on the court. And plus I'm 60 and I wasn't that good to begin with. Spurs. Yeah, just because it's OKC, just because OKC gets ultimate line respect right now. You look at the lines, OKC lays massive lines. I don't know if it's so much disrespect. Like, here's how lines are set. They have a power rating going into every game. So each team will be power rated, and they do this NFL, college, all that stuff. So all of them are power rated, and then they go into the game, they look at injuries. Okay. And then based off injuries, they may adjust it. Like each player probably has a point value rating. Steph is probably somewhere in the 4 or 5 range, maybe even 6. So let's say the Warriors are favored by 2 with Steph. Without Steph, they might be 4-point underdogs. So each player, Jokic is probably like 8. I would imagine. Jokic has got to be the largest one in the NBA. And then they look at travel, and then how the team is playing may factor in, but they're always adjusting these power ratings. And with the Spurs and OKC, it very well could be that the Spurs just have their number, right? That like Wembanyama is able to and Komet are able to neutralize Holmgren and God, why am I blanking on his name right now? I hate when I do this. I got the Hartenstein. I almost got it, but it came to me. That Wembanyama maybe neutralizes and Komet neutralizes both those guys a little bit. I don't know. Because San Antonio is pretty athletic too, and they're pretty deep, and they're tough. And we forget they got some really, really good guards on that team. Fox is really good. Castle's really good. Harper, the young guy. Champagny has actually been shooting the ball really, really well for them. Harrison Barnes, a vet. And then we all know Harrison Barnes around here, but he's like the perfect guy to kind of be a vet on that team. And then Wembanyama. But it could just be that that's not a great matchup, believe it or not. Or it could just be a 3-game set, and it could be, well, small sample size. We'll have to wait and see. But yes, they do. OKC gets ultimate line of respect, and rightfully so. They're the best team in the league, no doubt about it. So it'd be I was about to say it's going to be tough for the Warriors tonight. I would say damn near impossible. Like they're going to have to hit close to 23s, or the Thunder are going to have to do something that they normally don't do, which is turn the ball over a lot. That's the Thunder's secret sauce. Turning you over and then not turning it over. It's been 2 years running now. That is what they get, like 6 extra shots a game. Just because they turn you over close to 17, 18 times a game, and they only turn it over 11, 12 times a game. Like, bam, right off the top, they're getting 6 more shots than you. It's hard, and they're really good anyway. Like, I'm not even sure if they need all those extra shots, but they get them because they're so good defensively. They're so long. They're so active. They get hands on just about everything, seemingly, and then they take care of the ball. So it's just a tough combination to beat. And then you got an alpha in Shea. You got 2 guys who are legit number 2 guys in Holmgren and Williams. And then they got a bunch of guys that seem like they're alike. Mitchell, where'd this dude come from out of Santa Barbara? Like, Mitchell's been fantastic for them this year. So you throw Mitchell in there with Caruso and with Wallace and with Joe. And it's just like, good Lord. They just have a whole bunch of these dudes. Dort as well. So they got a defensive guy. They got a lanky, tall guy. They got a guy in Jay Williams that can get downhill and take some punishment, get to the free throw line. They got adequate 3-point shooting. In fact, it's actually pretty good this year. I think it's better than it was last year. They got a defensive stopper in Dort. They got 2 big guys. One's more of a bruiser than the other one, and then Holmgren can step out and hit threes. It's just a wonderfully constructed team, is what it is. So, yeah, to say that the Warriors will have their work cut out for them tonight would be an absolute understatement. So, anyway, all right, let's take some comments if you want. You want to talk about the Warriors? We can do that. You want to talk about college football playoffs? We can do that. You want to get into the Niners? Any questions about the Niner game? We can do that. Yeah, you know what? Kuminga might play. I don't think the Warriors need to showcase him. I think everyone's well aware of what Kuminga can do by now. People are like, they're not playing him. Is that going to help his trade value? Probably not. But if you're not like aware of what Kuminga can do by now, yeah, I don't. Nor should you. We need all the subscribers we can get. So don't hold your breath, because I'd hate to lose one. If you're not aware by now what Kuminga can do, then yeah. I feel like Mike McDonald asking, I don't know if you saw today when they asked him, so how do you stop Christian McCaffrey, or your thoughts on Christian McCaffrey? And he's like, he just like short circuited. He needed like a reboot. It's like Christian McCaffrey just shut him down. He's like, I guess that's what McCaffrey does to coaches. Like, don't know. Yeah, look, Kuminga's going to be gone. I think that's pretty obvious. I'd be shocked if he wasn't. The problem with Kuminga being gone is, although he makes $20 million, that still probably doesn't get you what you want. I think they would like, I don't want to say a bigger name guy, but I don't know what I don't know exactly what they want. They could use some size. That would be good. A guy like Zubats would be good for the Clippers. If the Clippers are inclined to sell, they got a brutal record. They've been playing a little bit better lately, but maybe you can get somebody like that. You start looking at teams who have some bigs that could help you because they certainly could use some bigs. Here's what the Warriors don't want to do. You don't want to mortgage your future. Steve said as much last time we had him on. So, yeah, I don't. Dennis is actually pretty decent at what he does. So I don't know the guarantees of 40. I don't know it has anything to do with the price of eggs. Certainly doesn't have anything to do with the game tomorrow. But back to Kuminga. Yeah, I don't know like what they can get for Kuminga. I know they'd loved. Look, he just doesn't fit here. Dude's just on the end of the bench, and somebody's going to be able to use him. Somebody will say, "Hey, we can figure out a way. We can figure out a way to use him and fit him into the system." But it's not here. And to get back to the point I was making was, if you're the Warriors, you don't want to end up being the Clippers, right? Where you don't have any draft picks, you're not playing well, and the prospects for the future are not very good. You don't want to be Phoenix. Although Phoenix, I'll give Phoenix credit. They've a remarkable job of turning it around and being a competitive team. I thought it'd take them a couple years to get back to just to being competitive, but you know what? You get rid of getting rid of Bill was huge, and then get rid of KD. They thought they had like the come to find out, you need more than 3 guys on your team. You actually need a complete team. That didn't happen, so now they're back on the road. Now they're a long way away from where they ultimately want to be, but you don't want to be that team, and that's what the Warriors are trying to avoid. It's a tightrope. Let's give ourselves the best chance to win with Steph while not handcuffing ourselves in the future. Michael Porter Jr. I don't know. Did you guys notice he looked bigger? Like he looked like he put on a few lbs when they were playing the Nets. I was like, that's like a supersized Michael Porter Jr. I don't know. I don't know if he's not a great defender. I guess he plays. So he played well, depending on what you'd have to give up. You'd have to give up Kuminga. I don't even know how much he makes. Michael Porter Jr. Is it like 30, 40, somewhere around there? Let's put it this way. I'd have to look a little more into it, but I'm not like super inclined to want Michael Porter Jr. On the team. I want more of a wing that can play D. Now he can shoot. There's no doubt about it. He could flat shoot. But for the price he paid, look, Denver got rid of him. They won a championship with him and got rid of him. They just figure we'll take Cam Johnson, who's kind of like Michael Porter Jr. light, but makes a lot less money, and then we can go out and get Bruce Brown. We can go out and get Valanciunas. We can fill out our roster a little bit, so every time we sit Jokic down, we're not a minus 11 in net rating. So I don't. That tells me a lot, but I don't know. I don't think. I don't think that's something they would look at. I wouldn't be inclined to do that, but we'll see. So I guess I should get to the game a little bit if you guys want to talk about the game, but I don't have a great feel for this game. I said it earlier on. I think Seattle's better defensively. Niners are better offensively. Special teams are probably about a wash. Yes, you are absolutely correct. Kittle got hurt during the game. Jennings was out for the game. And yeah, I think I don't know if they can. I don't know if Tonjes and Kittle will play together maybe at some point, because Tonjes really didn't do much once Kittle was healthy. But God, that guy can. I don't want to say he's a baller, but dude can get open and catch the ball. So, but yeah, it's a good point to make that Kittle got hurt, I think, in the first quarter of that game, and then Jennings didn't play in that game at all. So, coin flip. Dennis likes it. I don't. I don't. Again, I'm not. The Niner defense isn't good. It just isn't. So, to the 49ers, well, no shit. I mean, look, should we ask everybody if they like the Niners? Let's ask everybody if they like the Niners. And we got 16. What do we have? 16% Seahawk fans in the Bay, like here. I guess that makes sense. And so, and it's 43 votes, so small sample size. But yeah, I would expect everything to be pro Niners, pro Giants, pro Warriors. I just, again, I wouldn't feel comfortable taking either one side or another. I still want to see Darnold have a really good, clean game in a big game, and this should be the one he could have because this defense, again, it is what it is. I don't feel like crushing the defense, but it's not good, and we know why it's not good. I don't think we need to belabor the fact why the defense isn't great. They make some plays occasionally. Can they stop the run? That'll be huge. Can they take away Smith and Jigba? Everybody tries to. Doesn't seem like they have success. He gets open one way or the other. It's kind of like Nakua, kind of like Cooper Kupp 3-4 years ago with the Rams. Like they just find ways to get open and find ways to feed him. So if they can stop the run, I think they're going to have a legit chance. They're not putting up 42 points. Is 24 good enough? It's going to be a slower pace. Man, it's going to be like, again, if they win this, I'm inclined to say Kyle Shanahan wins Coach of the Year. Although I do feel like that's a 50-50 with Vrabel too. Because there's nothing expected of the Patriots. And if they win the division, win the one seed, all that, that would be pretty amazing. But it's gonna be Shanahan will get a lot of votes if they get the one seed because that's like out of nowhere. Not, and I've stated this a few times before. Beginning of the season, they were actually favored to win the division. Halfway through, most decidedly, were not favored to win the division. So to do it with all the injuries that they've had to deal with would be pretty amazing. So I'm not breaking any ground. I'm breaking any new ground here. We know what this game's going to be about. This game's going to be about McCaffrey. This game's going to be about Purdy. This game's going to be about Kittle. It's going to be about like everything offensively. That's what it's going to be about. If Trent Williams can't play, can Pleasant, I still need to get the guy's name right. Is it Pleasant? Like, what a pleasant day. Or is it Pleasance? And does it really matter? Yes, it does matter because the man played a hell of a game last game, and I should give him the respect he deserves to get his name right. So Pleasance, there you go, with an S. Make sure you get that right. There you go. Let's find out where he went to school. So I know that too. Let's see. Went to Ohio. He's a Bobcat. Nice. Undrafted, 2020, 6'7", 330. So it says, and lots of stints on the practice squad. So there you go. Good for him. Good for him. Because last game he played a hell of a game. You know how I know? Because I didn't notice him. When you don't notice them, you know they're playing a hell of a game. So, but this is going to be about the offense. This will be about the offense. And can they make a few timely plays? Can they get a turnover? Maybe a fumble. Maybe Darnold throws them one. Winning the special teams. All those little things. But really in the end, it's going to be about Purdy, McCaffrey, Kittle. It just is. That's who this team has become. That's who they've been the last few weeks. It's who they were against the Bears. It's who they were against the Colts. That's just who they are now. And it's a fun matchup because you get a really good offense against a really good defense. So I'm looking forward to it. Now, the question is, can I watch it without knowing what happened? That's the question. Game starts at 5:20. Warrior game starts at 7. Like, what the hell's going on with the Warrior game? All weekend games start at 5:30. Like, without fail, Saturdays, Chase, 5:30. Sundays, Chase, 5:30. Saturday, 5:30. Sunday, 5:30. Saturday, 5:30. Sunday, 5:30. Saturday, 7? What? 7 o'clock game? I'm going to look again just to make sure, because I keep looking and it keeps saying 7 o'clock game. Tonight, 7 o'clock game. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock game. Why is it a 7 o'clock game tomorrow? But it may help me, because if I can time getting in there at halftime and just go straight to the broadcast booth, put on my headsets, and never take them off. By the time the game ends, the Warrior game ends, the Niner game be long over, long gone. So headset on, don't look up, got a TV right here. Don't look out over the, I mean, I got to watch the game, so I'll be like this. I can't just look at the monitor and call the game. So I got to look at the actual game, but I can't look up because then I'll see the LED and then I'll see stuff. And if I take my headset off, then I'm going to hear, ooh, yeah. I don't want to do that. So I'm really hoping. Again, I give myself about a 10, 50% chance, but I'm going to try. So I can come home and watch it. That'll be so glorious if I can make it home around 10:30, not having seen the game. I just sit down, grab a beer, everybody be sleeping, turn on the fire, Christmas tree will be lit. Boom. I'll be good to go. So anyway, that's my hope. Anybody want a gumball? All right, let's take some comments before we get on out of here. I thought we were going to go an hour. I always think we're going to go an hour. And then we end up going like an hour and a half, hour and 30 minutes, hour and 40 minutes, hour and 45, whatever. Hey, when you're rolling, you're having a good time. So if we got any comments, throw them up there. Let's get to a few comments. And then we will like, subscribe if you want to. If you would be so kind. That would be pleasant. Let's see. I can actually make myself smaller and then see what you guys are saying. Or I can make myself bigger. If the 49er offense keeps rolling, which it will, Seattle won't be able to keep up. I'm glad you're so yeah, it's a given. Okay, yeah, they're going to keep up. What are you talking about? If it keeps rolling, which it will, like I'm glad you're so confident. I'm not that confident, but I feel good. I feel good about where the offense is at right now. Let's put it that way. Yeah, I know. Of course, I know. That's why I don't want to hear it. That's exactly why I don't want to take my headsets off. Take my headsets off, I hear that stuff. So, no. I want a touchdown call from Tim Roy, because then that means no. You're rooting against me is what you're doing. You're rooting against me being able to get home and enjoy the game. So hopefully that's what I can do. So, Lou's out there. Lou's trying to. Maybe it might just play dead. No, it didn't work. No, Lou knows I'm in here. Lou's like, you know what Lou's saying? You're bullshitting now. She goes, it's 2:45. I gave you like usually I'm 1:45. Now it's 2:45. And she's not thrilled. So I'm going to get out of here. All right, everybody have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the game tomorrow night. Grab a beverage. What beverages are you going to enjoy tomorrow night? I'm gonna grab. I got my middle out, my fieldwork middle out. I got some tiny Dankster that I'm gonna have, and I have a one from Monkish that I'm probably gonna have. Sprite, nice. Enjoy your Sprite. Thought you said you weren't gonna drink Sprite anymore, or maybe that's somebody else said they weren't gonna drink Sprite anymore. because of Anthony Edwards not being an adult. They're not going to do not going to do it. And so anyway, gin and tonic, and no, you don't need my Nash Bridges episode. Please. That's still one of the funniest things that we were saying. All right, everybody have a great weekend. I hope everybody had a very Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. 2026 is off to a nice start for you. And I'm sure it'll be off to a much nicer start for you if the Niners get a victory tomorrow night. But it should be a hell of a game. These are the fun games, like the really fun games, where there's a lot on the line, but you know you can't get eliminated. It's like it's a big game. This game's huge. You win this game, there's a possibility not just a possibility, you'll never have to leave Santa Clara again, ever, the rest of your life. Well, until next year, or you go on vacation. But you get to play 2 games at home and the Super Bowl if you make it that far. Like, you could conceivably play 3 games and never get step on a plane again. So it is a massive game. You won't have to go to Chicago and play a playoff game. You won't have to go to Philadelphia and play a playoff game. Guarantees you what? Nothing. But it guarantees you a first-round bye, guarantees you time to get a little healthier, and guarantees if you keep winning, you don't leave the zip code. So it's obviously a huge game, but not as huge as Pittsburgh-Baltimore, where, hey, we win, we're in, we lose, we're out. That's just it. This is a playoff game. So this isn't quite a playoff game, but still a very, very large game with large implications. You win this one, your chances of getting to a Super Bowl increase dramatically, absolutely dramatically. And guess what? If you win this one, I think Seattle gets the 5 if the Niners win, which means the Rams get the 6, which means you're out of the Rams side of the bracket. And guess what? If Philadelphia were to beat Washington this weekend, they'll be the 2. That means the Rams play the Eagles the first round. That's what you want. You want one of those 2 out. Get out of here. OUT out. See ya. So again, there are some massive implications that could help better your odds. I'd be curious. I'm going to have to look to see what their odds are winning the Super Bowl right now, and then see what their odds are to win the Super Bowl if they lose. If they win, I'm sure they'll be a little bit better. If they lose, a little bit worse. So I'm curious what they are right now. So I'm going to look at that. But big game. So fun game. Looking forward to it. Should be a fun Saturday football, and then on into Sunday evening. I will be at Chase tonight with Tim Roy, RC, all the guys, getting ready for OKC and the Warriors, and tomorrow night Warriors and the Utah Jazz. So we'll be back with you. We won't be with you Saturday, unfortunately. I got a game. But I'm going to try to be around for all the playoff games, whether I have Warrior games or not. I might be able to take a game off. Or hopefully the Niner game will be opposite day of a Warrior game, since this is the busiest time of the year for the Warriors at home. So we'll see how that goes. But I will definitely talk to you guys Monday. Brent Jones will be with us Monday, and then we plan on doing post-game Niner shows with Bergie throughout the entirety of the playoffs. Maybe they'll win and we won't have one the following week. Wouldn't that be nice? Everybody have a great weekend. Stay dry, stay safe out there. Like, subscribe, all that great stuff. And if you happen to be near field work, go grab yourself a non-alcoholic brew or a fully leaded brew if you so desire. And tell them I sent you, and you'll get a 0% discount. It'll be fantastic. So that's my guy Barry, Alex, all the guys over at Fieldwork, the official non-alcoholic beer of the San Jose Sharks. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you.
And remember this, Tommy T, cash and tickets is what it's all about.